that left the slot open for, I believe, someone that's got some natural resource orientation. And we've never had that before. And my age is such that, and my energy level is such that I think I can do a good job. I have good business and academic credentials. I've had a lot of community service. And I think I have some pretty good ideas. I can't go into the exact details, but I do know that we need to gain a little more local governance of our resource here on the Kootenai National Forest. We're growing 450 million board feet a year, 300 million dies, where net growth is 150. So we have 300 million board feet accumulating in the forest. And this is one reason where we talk about these wildland-urban interface projects as the people start coming in to our county. And this is part of our heritage, is the free flow of people. Restricting people's movements is, I don't think, part of the liberty factor. And so we have to, people are discovering this area, and we have to try and accommodate them somehow. We can't create a chaotic society here. We need to have some rules so we don't affect other people that came here to enjoy the same thing. So we have a lot of issues like subdivisions, and you people are well aware of that. And we have access issues on the forest. There's a lot of people that, and I'm one of them, feel we're closed out of the forest. I've never owned an ATV or snowmobile, but I know I have lots of friends that do. And I've been literally on my hands and knees throughout most of this Kootenai forest, especially in the Troy area where you get 10,000 hemlocks an acre growing. And that's about the only way you can get through this stuff. But there's a lot of areas here that I think there's plenty of room for all here. We have primitive backcountry and we have lots of working forests. And we need to get that working for us to generate, I propose, $8 million a year off the national forest that will go into county coffers. Well, we got this welfare payment apparently in this bailout package for another 4 years. Well, what we need are the tools here to allow us to manage the national forest on a local governance level, so we can generate the cash flow as a county here. So that's going to alleviate our tax burden. It'll allow us to create a little better infrastructure. It just gives us a lot more, a lot less reliance on the federal government, which you can see how they've botched things up over the years. I don't have to tell you, preaching to the choir.
Anybody got any questions for Gary?
You'll have pressure about the wildernesses,
Pardon?
the wilderness issue. What do you think the wilderness issue, the Weidemeyer, the Galton?
Why do I? The why do I?
Yes, the whole
Well,
thing.
anybody can Google why do I or the Wildlands Project, and you'll get an earful, just like what Paul is giving you other websites for other things. But why do I is it's a serious.
I don't think they understand.
Does anybody not know what the why do I is? Okay, it stands for Yukon to Yellowstone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, they call it why do I. And the Yukon to Yellowstone project was initiated, back in the 80s by Earth First. And I still have some of the original Earth First journals from the 80s. And they talked about, hey, it might take 50 years, but what we're going to do is create this vast, and they use vast as part of the terminology here, areas of the forest. And it's all written out there. I can give you the writings. Basically, the Wildlands Project creates core areas. There's a core that no human is allowed to go into. Then there's a next buffer where you're allowed limited entry for scientific and research purposes, and maybe some hiking. And then the next one is where you can have limited resource use. They say this is where you'll get your wood products, this is where you'll do your farming, these types of things. And I don't know if they mean logging with horses or what, but it's very limited. And then within these corridors, you develop these kind of triangular areas, and that's where you'll live. And then in between these vast areas, on the coast of the U.S., in central Washington, northern Idaho, this is a prime area here, northwest Montana. Then we have over in the Glacier Park, there'll be corridors that connect these other areas up. And this is all about providing animals with interchanging gene pools. So grizzly bears that are up in British Columbia can walk all the way down to the Yellowstone Sea, and they have this genetic interchange, so it keeps the population healthy, you see. So, this is
What I always wanted to do is bring with the crows.
So, this is part of what we're faced with, and there's foundations with many millions of dollars supporting these causes. You can explore this. I don't have to go any further. If you are internet wise, go there and you'll see it. And you can get printouts of all of these things. Educate yourself on it. And this is why they use these signature species like grizzly bear, like the wolf, now the lynx, and now we're hitting the wolverine.
So isn't it all about our rights disappearing and animals getting all the rights?
Oh,
I think what I'm
I
asking-
believe so, yeah.
What I'm
People
asking
control.
is,
Private property rights are going to be gone.
I think as a grassroots unit, or whatever you want to call us, is the people that have lived here for a long time and haven't lived here, whatever, and to be approachable to our commissioners with good management in their background, and be open to all of us. And
Yeah,
do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, I consider 19,000 people a small family in Lincoln
Yes.
County. This is a small family, and we have a lot of divergent views.
Right.
And I think, but it's interesting because I see, in walking from one end of the county to the other, it's very surprising to me how some that you would consider on the left share some of the same views as the people on the conservative side of things. And I'm there like, wow, what's going on here? You know, this is amazing. I'm trying to get those common threads. There are some things that are going to divide the conservative and the liberal all of the time. There's some basic issues that are deeply held by us, life issues, these types of things, but there are a lot of common threads here, and those are what I want to exploit here for the benefit of all of the people of the county.
Back to wilderness, are you for Revit Minerals drilling under the Caddo Wilderness?
Oh yeah, I don't see any
To
problem.
create jobs?
I don't see a problem
Were
with
you
it.
here when W.R. Grace was trying to do the same thing in the 70s? Trying to create jobs and get the county going about jobs and everything? Were you in the Libby area then?
Yeah, well, the zone like mine was active then.
Right. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a good job.
Who Revit is?
Mhm. Yeah, I think they're doing a very nice job, and I
I
think
thought
Mount
W.R.
Mark,
Grace was doing a good job too until people started dying.
well, asbestos, and I think there's a lot more due diligence beforehand. I mean, we're going to the nth degree of due diligence there.
For Revit? I mean Sterling Mines or whatever.
They're a vet mine. I think they're doing all right there with it. That's in Sanders County, and it's a little bit out of my
Well,
jurisdiction,
it's
but they will
underneath
affect
Lincoln
us.
County though, I was just curious. Being a commissioner, I was just wanting to be, I was just curious because it's.
Yeah,
the
and I
government
support
under
Mount
Lincoln
North.
County. Support what?
Montanor, the other project on the Libby side of the cabinets. I think they'll do a good job. That's a world-class metal body. And you were talking about communications and connecting people together. I have a website, and on that website is a blog. And this blog is set up right now, but as if I were the commissioner, that blog is meant to be a communication device for all the people of the county. We have different categories: roads, national forest issues, subdivision planning, any issue that's of importance to you. You don't have to go to a commissioner meeting. You don't have to spend time writing a letter. You don't have to try and get through the commissioner on a phone call. You can get on the blog, and you can write out your feelings there, and you can do it anonymously. The idea is to get people in these various discussion groups. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this kind of a concept, but to tie this county together, I see that as one way with our technology to bind us together. Because we're too much of a dog bone county, I call it. You know, you got one glob down there, one glob up here, and we got this little